All right, friends, in studio with us and today's sponsor of Real Estate Radio. We're so ecstatic to have Mr. Brian Johnson of Valley Mortgage. So good morning, BJ.
Good morning, Eric. Thanks for having me.
You bet. It's awkward. I always talk about how well dressed you are, and today is no exception. You're in a new suit and dressed yourself.
I did, yes.
Yeah, your eyes are dancing in the suit. It looks really great. That makes you uncomfortable every time I bring it up, and so I have to.
Yeah, well, I'm speechless.
Good. We'll keep it that way. But as a radio show, this is going to be pretty weird if you're speechless. So I want to dive into a conversation that we had last time that you were on air. And we talked, Brian, about why somebody should maybe consider an ARM. An ARM stands for what?
Adjustable rate mortgage.
And how would you explain an ARM to Joe Blow out on the street?
There's quite a few different ARMs out there. There's a 3-1 ARM, a 5-1 ARM, 7-1 ARM, even a 10-year ARM. So what that means is the interest rate's fixed for a certain period of time, either 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, or 10 years. And then it can adjust after that, depending on what type of ARM it is, a certain percentage up or down each year after that term. Mm-hmm. So for the most part, ARMs aren't necessarily a bad thing or a risky thing. If you've got somebody that's going to live in a house for 5 to 10 years, if they do a 7-year ARM, they know their interest rate's going to be fixed for 7 years. Mm-hmm. And typically, ARM rates are a little bit lower than a fixed rate loan. So normally, those aren't exactly a risky situation for most people.
And I'm going to put a giant asterisk on that because it's not that I disagree with you, but twice now I've gone to see the movie The Big Short, and it's a book as well. And for those of you that are unfamiliar with it, it talks about the mortgage crisis of 2008 and the collapse on Wall Street and how nobody ever thought housing was going to become a
bubble.
A bubble, yeah. And nobody saw the boom coming except for just a few key people, and they even bet against it. So that's the premise of The Big Short, is people betting against housing, which nobody had ever done in the history of the world. And so one of the core reasons why the housing bubble happened and why housing fell out of value is because of these things like ARMs. Why?
That's partially correct.
Okay.
ARMs played a little bit of a role in it, but it was the exotic ARMs, I think, that really played into it. Mm-hmm. It was the ARMs that were interest-only ARMs where people weren't paying any principal down. They had pay option ARMs where people were given the option to pay less than what the principal payment even was, or the interest-only payment was, where they would tack on the additional principal on the end of the loan. Mm-hmm. They also had a lot of prepayment penalties at that point. So if you had a loan out there, and let's say you had a 6-month option ARM, was what it was, where your payment was really low for the first 6 months, and then afterwards it jumped up as far as 100 or 200% maybe sometimes. People weren't able to afford it, and they were able to qualify just based on that lower amount. So that really is what I think spiraled everything into the mortgage crisis, because now, Wall Street was looking for more of those types of loans, so they were selling all those even more, and
those are called subprime loans, right?
Subprime loans, yes.
Right. Those of you just tuning in, Brian Johnson from Valley Mortgage in studio with us, and we're talking about adjustable rate mortgages. On top of everything you just shared, BJ, it was a lot of people who shouldn't be buying houses that were buying houses, right?
They shouldn't have gotten those programs. Let's put it that way. They shouldn't have qualified for what they were given.
If you could fog a mirror back in 2006 in Florida, you probably were given a loan.
Right. Yeah. If you had a heartbeat and a credit score, you were probably able to get some sort of loan.
Did the credit score have to be anything good?
They were pretty low. Back at the end there, right at the end, I mean, I think you were able to get a really good loan without even having to prove income if you had a 620 credit score.
Wow. And things are different now. How are we protected this time around? And it should be known for those people tuning in that North Dakota and Fargo in general didn't experience the mortgage crisis that the rest of the country did. In fact, our properties appreciated consistently except for 2011 when they dropped 0.25% in value, which really is non-existent. And so we've been different. Why is it that we've been different?
We have a pretty conservative values, I think, and people are mindful of only spending what they can afford. And that's the big change this time around too. Since the housing market's come back, the loan program qualifications have tightened up significantly.
Okay.
They're starting to loosen up a little bit, but they're loosening up in a responsible way. So people still have to qualify for their house payment, and the new rules that are in place, consumers have to understand their loan terms, and that was a big thing, that people weren't understanding what their loan terms were back in 2001 through 2008.
Yeah, when it all fell out.
Right.
Yeah. Well, a prediction then. We just have a minute left, BJ. What's going to happen in real estate? Because I want to talk about it all day long. Where are we going in 2016?
I think it's going to be a good year. There's loan programs out there. Interest rates are down a little bit now. So it's
Is that because the stock market's down right now?
That's a pretty good indication of why it's down. Yes.
So that sucks.
Well, the stock market drop. Yes, everybody's feeling that.
Yeah.
It's good if you're buying a home, though.
Yeah. All right.
You get a pretty good interest rate on a 30-year fixed rate. So interest rates are lower, so it's going to help people qualify for more and be able to move up. Values are going to continue to increase at a modest level. So I think it's going to be a good year.
I don't think you're wrong, BJ. Hey, if you're tuning in and you need some loan advice, if you need to get pre-approved to see where this goes, if you want an ARM or a conventional or a fixed mortgage, whatever it may be, I highly encourage you to talk to Brian Johnson. So how can they get in touch with you, BJ?
Sure. Call my office at 701-461-8450.
All right, BJ, Brian Johnson at Valley Mortgage. Great to have you here. Thanks for sponsoring today's show. And those of you tuning in, head to livefargomoorhead.com right now. Find out what your home is worth. This is Real Estate Radio with Erik Hatch. Welcome back to Real Estate Radio. As always, I'm your host, Erik Hatch. And it's time now for the Erik Hatch Team's Picks of the Week here on Real Estate Radio. There's some screaming deals we don't want you to miss out on, and so go to livefargomoorhead.com. Check these out. Don't miss them, because we are going to head to the wonderful community of Barnesville, Minnesota. And gosh, I love Barnesville. A superb community, charming. I've heard that they don't want to be called a bedroom community, so I'm not going to say that, but I just did, so I think I'm out of luck either way. But this home is immaculate. 614 12th Street Southeast in Barnesville, just listed for $315,000. This is a rambler with a crawl space, so no basement in this, but we're talking over 3,000 square feet of finished space. Dang, that's a lot of house all on one level. Holy cow, we have 3 garage stalls, 3 bathrooms, 3 bedrooms. It's called the 333 dance. But what I want you to picture here is living just 20 minutes outside of Fargo-Moorhead and having this giant home with this much ample space and a great yard to boot. And for $315,000, by the way, in Barnesville, you're going to have little to no specials also. So think of the savings that'll happen in your life. If, however, you need to be closer to town, if you need to have that kind of space but be in the Fargo-Moorhead area, down at 7196 14th Street South in Fargo, that's out by Davies High School, so way down south. It almost feels like North Wapaton sometimes, but it certainly isn't, because Fargo is just getting longer and longer. By the way, did you know that Fargo is square footage-wise bigger than San Francisco? And Fargo, square footage-wise, is bigger than Boston, Massachusetts. And yet we just continue to grow, and that's an exciting thing. But we're looking at 7196 14th Street South. Boy, I got on a tangent there. And for $465,000, a 5-bedroom, 3-bathroom, 3-stall garage house, almost brand new, meticulous to the nines, beautifully finished, and a bargain price. You can't build it for this price. And so instead, why not buy it and get a house that looks so sharp? Finally, if these 2 homes are out of your price range and we need to find something that fits a little bit better, let's head just a little bit north of that last house, 6127 23rd Street South. 6127 23rd Street South. For $165,000, you get a bi-level, split-level home with 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a deck, a huge maintenance-free backyard, maintenance-free fence, fenced-in backyard, and for $165,000 out of the floodplain too. This is a bargain of a house. Now, all these homes and more are going to fly off the shelves, so here's what you need to do. Go to livefargomoorhead.com, take a look at these properties, or to have your own home featured on Real Estate Radio, give us a call at 369-4839.